Hey folks, it's Rod with POW Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Saturday, it's November 16th. Hope you're well. And in this video, we're going to do another rapid fire news update for the period November 9th to the 15th. And again, it's not a deep dive, it's just a high level overview in case you missed it. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You can follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And before anybody comments on the sound, apologies. I'm not in my regular setup at the moment. I'm over doing some work at the Airbnb. So we'll have to get through it. And it is what it is. New Jersey officials will begin enforcing ban on hemp product sales. We knew this is something that is more than likely going to continue to be a trend, and Ohio lawmakers as well moved to ban hemp products, citing youth safety concerns. And then from the Cannabis Law Report, they believe Bloomberg says and believes that Congress will recriminalize hemp-derived THC next year. So this is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But overall, a lot of companies that are into the hemp-derived products, they're very vibrant in the regular cannabis business as well, right? So I don't think it'll be the end of the world, but it definitely may impact. You might see some impairments, write-offs, etc. We'll see what happens. Trump's endorsement of Florida marijuana legalization ballot measure failed to convince his supporters, polls show. And what do we know about Trump? He usually gets what he wants. So there's it's not a surprise that he's been electing very pro-MJ people into Congress and different agency leads and heads, because I think, he's going to get it done himself. And we've got more information on that in just a moment. Pennsylvania House is ready to move forward with MJ legalization in 2025, top Democrat says. There's a lot of news this week, so we'll go through it as quickly as possible. If we care about our veterans, we'll legalize marijuana nationwide. This is a report from the MJ Herald. As the nation honors Veterans Day, a growing number of advocates argue that the best way to honor America's veterans is to provide them with broader access to medicine of the future. I agree. Cannabis. Trump's campaign manager and now chief of staff was co-chair of PR company that repped TrueLeaf. So again, we're seeing the writing is on the wall. We've got some more information coming that's very pro-MJ as well. What does the collapse of Germany's government mean for cannabis? So this is something that's up in the air at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen, but essentially, there was repeatedly broken his trust. So there's a lot here. I'm not going to go into it. You can read it on your own time, but essentially there's a lot of uncertainty with regards to Germany's government. Are they going to slow down Pillar 2, or are they going to reverse everything? So all of this happening at the same time, Florida Amendment 3 failed and the Dems losing. They wanted to federally recreationally legalize the plant. They didn't win, and then we had bad earnings and MSOX reverse split news coming. It's all just compiling for a really, really bad time in the MJ space. We've already been kicked for 4 years, and we've been down for 4 years, and we continue to get kicked while we're down. So it's brutal, but don't worry. The industry has never been healthier, both from a fundamental and, technically speaking, the prices aren't catching up. But, right now, if you look at the fundamentals, if you look at the regulations, everything's trending in the right direction, right? And if you look at financials of these companies, it's all trending in the right direction. It's just we're so early, it's not even funny, right? And I've got an interview with Hugo Alves, CEO of Oxley, that should be published early next week. And I think you're really, really going to like it. And he agrees with a lot that I usually say on the channel. We did have some news that there was some insider buying. Rena Persofsky, I think her name is. She's a director at Tilray Brands. So you can see here it was at $1.50, and you can see on November 8th, 2024, the reporting person purchased 11,958 shares of common stocks with about $20,000 worth at a price of $1.50. It was done through derivatives, but the end result is still the same, and great to see that happening. Whoops, clicked the wrong button there. So exclusive, I already did a video on this. Chris Christie says Trump will remove federal restrictions on marijuana and find sweet spot. And in that article, he talks about how Trump will attempt to deschedule, and we've got some more information that is pointing to that potentially being the case. Also, Ascend Wellness trims cost in third quarter as losses mount. Kronos sales jumped 38% as Spinach brand nabs top spot in Canada. And they're sitting on almost $1 billion in cash. So we'll see what happens with regards to if they make a move and acquire another company. We'll see what happens. But yeah, they definitely have a lot of cash in their arsenal that they can deploy. Kamala Harris didn't want to talk about marijuana legalization with Joe Rogan, podcaster says, of interview that never happened. So how interesting is that? She doesn't want to talk about marijuana legalization, but yet she made it a part of her campaign that they want to recreationally legalize it at the federal level. That's just really, really bizarre. You can make of that what you will. Israel decides it's time to slap duties on Canadian cannabis and levies as high as 175%. So yeah, we know a lot of companies are winding down their Israel operations, and I think Kronos actually had a lot of operations in Israel. So that more than likely going to impact them. Newly elected Republican Senate Majority Leader, whose name that's Thune, opposes MJ legalization and rescheduling and industry banking access. So this was something else that created a lot of uncertainty in the markets, and the markets already had a lot of uncertainty and bearish momentum, and this just added that more fuel to that fire, unfortunately. But I don't think it's the end of the world. We've got some more information coming that's kind of showing that the industry and the administration, the regulations are really going to start to change over the next couple of years. Canadian cannabis retailer High Tide completes 15 million Canadian debt draw. We also had AYR Wellness missing estimates, and they cited rising competition. We also have GrowGen. They saw more losses amid restructuring in the third quarter, so you can check out their earnings if you're interested. Ianthus also reported they saw a revenue decline as the company sells off assets. And Trump taps pro-marijuana legalization Congressman Matt Gaetz. So open the floodgates for U.S. Attorney General. So this is great. He said it's time to delist. He didn't really support rescheduling, but he thinks that we should delist it and deschedule it from the CSA, which would effectively legalize it, similar to Canada and Germany. So this is really good news in my opinion. And he even said that he would crack down on big tech and go easy on the MJ industry. So what have I been saying for many, many months now? That it's probably going to take big tech, crypto, AI to top out before MJ enters a bull market, similar to what happened in 2017, 2018. When crypto topped out, MJ went on the biggest bull run. Why? Because Canada legalized it at the federal level. Now we have major reform coming at the US federal level, and it's a very similar scenario I think that's going to play out. Also, the MJ Herald reports that a new study shows that CBD could offer a cost-effective, non-invasive, and effective treatment for managing Alzheimer's disease. And if you've been affected, or your families, your friends, like my grandmother had Alzheimer's disease, and it was brutal. And if we can get them some kind of relief or some sort of treatment that's effective, because right now there's really nothing. So medicine of the future, love to see it. Tilray Medical launches its first commercial grown in Germany medical cannabis products under its newly expanded cultivation license. And we know that they were the first one to get that license under the new regulation. So this is awesome to see. And even Boris Jordan, CEO of Cureleaf, said that Germany is going to be the place to be over the next couple of years, even though we're seeing all this uncertainty with regards to their administration and their government. So we'll keep close tabs on that. Smoking marijuana is now more popular in the U.S. than smoking tobacco cigarettes, Gallup poll data shows. Love to see it. Also, Jones Soda reported their Q3 revenue. It dropped, but their Mary Jones THC brand sees 264% growth. That is awesome. So I think they're a buyout target, at least maybe their Mary Jones brand. We'll see what happens. Tilray has exclusive licensing to distribute here in Canada, and they were starting with Ontario and then looking at BC and then other provinces. But that's something that Tilray might even end up buying at some point. We'll see what happens. Rubicon Organics, they reported, and they saw a big revenue increase in the third quarter. We had Grown Rogue reporting as well. Their revenue climbed 7% as New Jersey launch looms. Charlotte's Web narrows losses in the third quarter despite lower revenue, and we know they have a partnership with Tilray as well. C21 defies Nevada cannabis slump with 14% sales jump and margin gains, and the stock was up quite a bit as a result. Cannabis already showed that one. Yeah, outpacing cigarettes. That's crazy. RFK Jr. was selected as the top health official. So HHS, FDA is an agency within the Department of HHS. So this is great to see. I don't think it was a surprise to anybody. I think we pretty much already saw this coming, and they're going to attempt to make America healthy again is the slogan. But RFK Jr. could advance marijuana and psychedelics reform agenda as Trump's top health official. So this is great to see. Like I said, we have Gates. I don't think that, he still has to pass the Senate and everything. He has to get, kind of approved and vetted, whatever. But I think he will ultimately land the job. And RFK Jr. at the head of the FDA, this is music to our ears. Even though it's not reflecting in the stock prices, it will eventually catch up. Don't worry. The industry is alive and well and healthy, and it's not going anywhere. Cannabis company SNDL to repurchase up to 100 million in stock. So this is great to see. SNDL fam, shout out to the SNDL fam. Also, acreage revenue down 30% in the last stretch before a canopy deal. And they said that it should close sometime in the spring, I think they said, of 2025, but I'm going to say summer or fall. One thing we noticed is usually timelines get stretched. Also, Avicana, who I've interviewed their CEO in the channel before, you can check that out if you want to learn more about that in the company, but their sales were flat in the third quarter as cash concerns persist. And we did touch on that in the interview, and he said he was not concerned about their cash position. And similar situation with Auxly interview. That was yesterday that we had the interview. It was an absolute banger. You're going to love it. Can't wait until it's published early next week, hopefully on Monday. And I posted a video on this. Advisor Shares announces reverse split of ETF, and that is the MSOX ETF, which is the MSOS daily leveraged ETF. So you have to be careful with these ETFs. They have decay, natural decay built into them. They use derivatives to get this 2x leverage, and it's not good for long-term holding, right? It says right here that it should be for sophisticated and experienced active day trading investors only, right? So a lot of people are buying this for long-term holds, and that's not a good idea. So again, if you haven't seen this, check out my video. But it's a 1 for 20 reverse split. So essentially, if you have 1,000 shares, you'll now have 50 shares after the split, but the price goes up, right? So your total value still stays the same. Also, cannabis could save $29 billion per year in U.S. healthcare costs, says CEO. So now we know, right? Why are they taking such a hostile approach? Why are they so slow at reform? It's because the big alcohol, big tobacco, and big pharma are being disrupted, and they need to slow it down as best they can, right? And for as long as they can, so that big pharma, big alcohol, and tobacco, like it's already outpacing cigarettes, right? So we need, and look at Imperial Brands and Oxley, and you got Altria with Kronos and Constellation with Canopy, right? So all these big alcohol and tobacco giants are choosing Canadian LPs, and we actually discussed that in my Oxley interview from yesterday. But now we know why. It's being disrupted, right? And yeah, we could see some downside come Monday as a result of this 1 for 20 reverse split. But, like I said, the industry is alive and well. We're trending in the right direction. We just have to be a little bit more patient. And I know it's brutal. A lot of people probably aren't going to recover from this, but, we have to learn from this and realize that the sector is not going anywhere. All right. Have a great weekend. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.